Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the New York Women Foundation's 30th anniversary celebrating women breakfast. Pick up your glow sticks, snap them, and shake them up. It's time to welcome Batala to the stage. Please welcome the New York Women's Foundation Honorary Chair of the Board of Directors, Abigail Disney.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Batala. They were awesome. Welcome to Planet Resistance. 30 years. We were the resistance before we even knew we needed a resistance. We are the original pre-existing condition, girls. Now, I don't go a full 30 years back with the New York Women's Foundation, and this is a very wobbly mic, sorry about that. I don't go all the way 30 years back with the foundation, but 25 years is nothing to sneeze at. And it was a Thursday, May 11th, 1992, when I walked into the New York Hilton up the street. I was pregnant, like gigantic pregnant, with my second child, and I literally walked in the door and I saw this beautiful scene out here, and I became a feminist, just right there, smack. Bolts of lightning. Now, it doesn't happen that way for most people, but I had been raised by a combination of wolves and Phyllis Schlafly, so I had gotten all the way to my 32nd year without realizing what feminism was going to mean to me. But I thought to myself, who are these people? I mean, they're so bright and fierce and hopeful when everything outside was looking so desperate and intractable and angry and ugly. And I had discovered what I now think of as yes feminism. It was a feminism abundantly clear about what needed to happen and why. And it was more focused on what it was for than what it was against. And walking into that room 25 years ago, I'm not kidding you, saved me. It saved my life. Now, a lot of things were different in 1992. I wore a campaign button that said I'm voting for Hillary's husband. Beanie Babies were still going to resell at multiple times their original value. And tattoos were still just for pirates and prisoners. But now everything is so different. Maybe someday I'm going to wear a button that says I'm voting for Hillary's daughter. I'm not sure where all the Beanie Babies went, but I'm pretty sure their resale value is, adjusted for inflation, something around 0. And as for the tattoos, well, let's just say I don't want to believe my daughters are headed for lives of crime or piracy, so we'll just leave it there. But some things never, ever, ever change. And this breakfast is still the mind-bending, gobsmacking, life-changing revelation that it's always been, and perhaps equally important, glow sticks are still awesome. Can I see your glow sticks? Can I see your Reese glow sticks? Awesome. There's a rave later, so. So how many people are here for the first time? Oh my God, that's great. That's great. Okay. How many people a second time? There you go. Fifth? Fifth time? 10? Any 10s? Okay, who's a lifer here? And you're excited about your glow sticks now, girls, calm down. How many lifers have we got here? Oh, look at all the lifers. Okay, so if you're a first year, I want you to introduce yourself to a lifer later. You'll have a blast. Now, up on stage, I think you can see we have our grantee partners from across 3 decades. We also have grantee partners in the audience, and if you're in the audience as a grantee partner, can you please stand up so we can salute you? Where are you? Yes, there you go. It is their fierce commitment and ingenuity and hard work that have been transforming this city, one woman, one city block, one neighborhood at a time. They are the true geniuses of what we do, and without them, we are nothing, so we thank you. Okay, so now I know we've all been walking around with pretty much the same lump in our throats for the last few months. These are tough and scary times. They're so tough, in fact, that I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale and it's feeling like journalistic realism to me. But a lot of what is out there is also very heartening, you have to admit. There's a lot of new energy out there on the sidewalks and in the neighborhoods. People are mad as hell and they're not going to take it anymore. There's a lot of righteous anger, a lot of longing for justice, a lot of new people stepping into leadership. There is a new and invigorating talk about gender and race and justice that I've never heard before, and it's incredibly inspiring. But there is one thing I'm not hearing enough of, frankly, and that's optimism. It's been pessimism that brought us to this point. Pessimism and cynicism, they serve the status quo. They destroy people's dreams. Pessimism and cynicism give us bent elections, media circuses, and debilitating paranoia. Cynicism and pessimism unchecked inexorably diminish our hearts as a society. So it's not for nothing, believe me, that on both sides, optimism is dismissed as nothing more than embarrassing naivete. That should be the first sign to you that optimism is, in fact, a radically liberating, life-altering act of defiance. It's a choice. So yes, grit, stamina, courage, focus, vision, we need all these things. We need all of these things. They're important. But it doesn't matter how powerful the engine is that drives our newfound energy. If what we put in the gas tank doesn't start with love, then we won't get anywhere good. Optimism is what love looks like when you take it out for a walk. Optimism is hope in motion. And without optimism, we'll be just another movement, flinging ourselves at the barricades, just another angry mob arming itself for the battle. You know you've lost the war when you start to look exactly like what it is that you're opposing. In 1992, we were an idea whose time had come. In 2017, we are a force to be reckoned with. And never before has the world been so badly in need of everything that we do best, better than anyone else. We are the committed badasses we've been waiting for. So we are the ones who can lead with our hearts and our heads and who can posit once and for all that without radical paradigm shift, radical generosity, radical love, there will never be better days. So there is a way forward from where we are right now, no matter how bleak it may seem. The way forward is to hold on to all that makes us and what we do special, what has stood us in good stead for all of these 3 decades. I believe in it. I believe in these guys, I believe in us, and I believe in you. So let's get the party started.
Thank you, Abby. Your speeches are always inspiring, and I look forward to them. I'm Yvonne Quinn. I'm the current chair of the board, and with me is Kwanzaa Butler, the vice chair of the board. And thank you. And thank you for being here this morning in force to help us celebrate our 30th anniversary. It is a great honor for me and for Kwanzaa to present our first award to get the breakfast started. And we're going to present an award to some very, very important women. They are the New York Women's Foundation board alumni, including the original founders of this organization, join me in welcoming them to the stage and enjoy some pictures of all of them up on the screen. We owe a great deal to these women because 3 decades ago, the women who started the foundation and all these women who've carried it for 30 years had a very radical idea. That idea was to collect together women from all backgrounds, all means, throughout the city, and to help other women as a goal. And in particular, to help women leaders who recognized and had ideas for solutions to the challenges being faced by women and girls in their communities. This unique alliance has only grown stronger in the 30 years and is still the founding principle of this organization. It continues to propel our mission to create a New York City in which every woman can achieve economic security and can live a healthy and safe life. We're all a part of that alliance, and we're proud to have you here today as a part of it. That alliance, along with the staff of the foundation, is making New York City a better place for women and the families that depend upon them.
Good morning. As Yvonne mentioned, my name is Kwanzaa Butler, and I'm Vice Chair of the New York Women's Foundation. I want to say that it is our privilege to honor the alumni of the foundation. We would not be here, standing together, stronger than ever, if it were not for their generosity, determination, and hard work. We thank them for their extraordinary vision, fierce determination, and passionate commitment to the women and girls of our great city.
So please join me in a standing ovation, again, for these women as they leave the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, another round of applause for our board alumni. And now it is my pleasure to welcome Nobel Peace Laureate and past Century Award recipient, Lama Bowie.
Good morning. Never before in the history of our world do we need this kind of gathering now more than ever before. Racism, discrimination, sexism, the world has turned into a place where women cannot speak about their bodies. It's primarily men in suit and tie. So even though I feel this breakfast is crazy and my ultimate revenge for waking me up at 5 a.m. was to wear these sleeves, what I think is great. Thank you. As you know, the New York Women's Foundation invests in women leaders who are transforming the city and the nation for better. And definitely we need them now in the U.S. more than ever before. Women who stand up for vulnerable women and families, who inspire us daily to be bold. Today, I'm pleased to present the Celebrating Women Award to 4 of such women. They are remarkable activists, tirelessly working across an array of issues critical to the lives of women and families in New York and the US. I'll begin with Ana Maria Aquila. She's a leading voice for racial justice, economic justice, and immigrant rights. She has helped build Make the Road Project into a powerful force for change, and now at the Center for Popular Democracy, she is creating one of the largest community organizing networks in the country, representing a powerful multiracial alliance of immigrants, African Americans, and working class communities to advance racial justice, economic justice, and vibrant democracy. I'm honored to present this to you, and in presenting this to you, I also share my prize with you because I think the Nobel Prize, you are one of those people that represent that prize when it was given to me as a grassroots activist. Congratulations.
Wow. This means the world to me. The love of women, a radical generosity means the world to me, and is what has sustained me my entire life. Thank you, Lama, so much. And thank you to each and every single woman who has been part of this amazing 30 years of history of the New York Women's Foundation. I feel incredibly honored to be standing next to some of my movement heroes, and the feistiest and wisest and most loving movement leaders that our country has. I would not be here today if the New York Women's Foundation hadn't bet on me when I was a 23-year-old executive director of a very small immigrant rights organization, when the likelihood that I would fail was much higher than the likelihood of success, when the rational thing to do was to wait and see. You bet on me, and you bet on my team, and you helped me find my voice and my power. But my story is not unique. In fact, the New York Women's Foundation is constantly betting on the leadership of women against all odds. Everywhere I turn, I see the fruits of the seeds that you have planted. The undocumented youth who are leading the movement for immigrant dignity have been nurtured by you. The domestic workers movement was nurtured by you. The voices that are transforming the conversation in our country on criminal justice and race were nurtured by you. The women that are leading the resistance to the most racist and hateful regime we have seen in generations were nurtured by you. And because of that, we have a powerful movement in this moment, filled with visionary leaders who are lighting the way through one of the darkest and most difficult moments in our country's history. We are living through a moment where the forces of hate and racism and white supremacy are nakedly in display and in power. For immigrant families like mine, this is a moment of unspeakable terror. of real fear. I see it every day, I hear it every day, and I feel it every day. All of us are here in this room because we feel it in our bones that we cannot sit still and watch the destruction of our democracy, the scapegoating of our communities, and the rollback of 100 years of progress on women's rights, on economic justice, on racial justice, on climate justice, on LGBTQ equality, and so much more. We are here because we know that we need to organize our people, the people we love, the people we find in our daily lives, and our money, if we want to be able to advance a vision of an inclusive society where each and every single one of us can be free. So let's do that. Let's force ourselves to think of ways that we can create sanctuary for one another and for the people directly targeted in this moment. And let's examine the ways our money might be complicit in this hateful agenda. Because the fact is that the anti-immigrant agenda is not just a political ideology, it is an economic program. There are people and institutions, certain corporations, perhaps the banks where we have our savings and our 401ks, that directly invest and profit from the construction of the wall, from the expansion of jails and detention centers, from the enforcement-only approach to immigration, from a criminal justice system that feeds millions of people into jails. There are actual beneficiaries from an ideology of hate. And so my invitation to all of us here is to dig deep, to examine, to lift our voices inside our workplace, inside our banks, with our friends. It is not easy, I know, but I am convinced that we are a powerful force able to transform the spaces we touch into spaces of inclusion and respect for human dignity and for freedom, spaces for sanctuary for each and every one of us. So I want to leave you all with the words of someone who I find incredibly inspiring and powerful. Her name is Marisa Franco. She's a queer Chicana movement leader from Arizona. We can give an applause to Marisa, who may not be here, but she should be celebrated. She wrote this: "Sanctuary is a spiritual stance. Sanctuary says, oppression is trying to fill our lives with fear and blood and daily numbing horror. But not here, not in my home, not in my bed, not in my movement. Sanctuary makes a ring of fire around our people. Sanctuary grants a state of reprieve and protection so they can gather strength to go out there and fight again and again." Thank you, New York Women's Foundation, for 30 years of sanctuary for women and girls in our city. Thank you for 30 years of radical love and radical generosity. It is an incredible honor to be part of this community with all of you.
Thank you, Anna. Radical generosity, the kind of generosity that transforms community. Our next honoree is Donna Lieberman, Executive Director of the New York Civil Liberties Union. Under Donna's leadership, the New York Civil Liberties Union has become widely recognized as NY's state leading voice for freedom and justice and equality, with a sharp focus on those most at risk: people of color, young people, and low-income New Yorkers. This includes efforts to reform broken window policing in New York City, successfully challenging the Defense of Marriage Act in the Eddie Windsor case, expanding transparency in policing and education, and successfully campaigning for the Women's Equality Act and paid family leaves. Donna, for being a powerful voice for freedom, when in this world today, freedom has a different meaning, for justice, when it seems to elude us, for equality, when no one knows who is equal and who is unequal, for those most marginalized. The New York Women's Foundation is proud to present you with the Celebrating Women's Award, and I would like to add you as one of my personal heroes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. And a special good morning to Karina B., who's standing over there, my 3-year-old granddaughter. Hi, Boo-Boo. This is her first of many New York Women's Foundation breakfasts, and I'm so glad you're here. I've been coming to this breakfast for years, and I've always been so inspired by the amazing women of the New York Women's Foundation and my good friend, Ana Oliveira. So I am especially humbled and deeply honored to be up here today. Our democracy is under the most serious attack in history by a president who has surrounded himself with the richest of the rich, the greediest of the greedy, the most bigoted of the bigoted. The freedoms we have always taken for granted are now in peril. Respect for a free press, the right to protest, freedom of religion, and equally important, separation of church and state. The independence of our judiciary, the right to vote, even the independence of the FBI. So we now live in this dis-Trumpian era under a regime whose agenda is shaped by hate, bigotry, and deception. But there is some good news. This threat to the basic pillars of our democracy has awakened a sleeping giant, the American people, who know we can no longer take our freedoms for granted, and who have demonstrated time and time again, starting with the Women's March in January, our collective will. We will resist. And we will use every peaceful means we have to fight back and protect our freedoms in the streets, at the airports, in the legislature, and in our courts. We will fight the Muslim ban. We will fight the deportation machine. We will fight for our health care. And we will not let them put Planned Parenthood, the most important provider of women's health care in our nation, out of business. No, we will not let them treat being a woman as a pre-existing condition. And we will not let them invoke religion as a pretext for bigotry. And we will not let them destroy our free public schools. And we must make New York a safe haven, which, by the way, it is not. It's certainly not as safe as it could be or as it needs to be. We have a ton of work to do here in New York. Our state abortion law doesn't even meet the standard of Roe v. Wade. So, if we're going to protect women from these guys who want to overturn Roe, we need to pass the Reproductive Health Act in Albany and codify Roe v. Wade for the women of New York. And our human rights law. Our state human rights law has a gaping hole in it. It doesn't even protect kids in public schools. So if we're going to protect our kids from the rise in bullying and harassment that is so predictable when we've got a bully in chief in the bully pulpit, we need to fix our state human rights law. We have to do it now. And guys, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but I have a limit. There is so much work to be done to protect our democracy. And I gotta say, I am so grateful to the New York Civil Liberties Union, which, by the way, is the ACLU of New York, that gives me a day job fighting the good and ever so important fight we are all fighting now. It is a daunting task, and we're gonna win some battles. We will also lose some. But every time they knock us down, we'll get right back up. Because honestly, we have no choice, because this is the fight of our lives. And because somos todos inmigrantes, somos todos Afroamericanos y Latinos, somos todos Muslims and Jews, somos todos LGBTQ, somos todos mujeres. We must all stand together, and together, ultimately, we will win. Si se puede. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. Our next honoree is the Reverend Vivian Nixon. As the Executive Director of the College and Community Fellowship, Vivian removes individual and institutional barriers to higher education for women with criminal records and their families. Vivian is also the co-founder of the Education from the Inside Out Coalition, a collaborative effort to increase access to higher education for justice-involved students. Vivian, for dedicating your life to removing barriers for higher education for women with criminal records, the New York Women's Foundation presents you with the Celebrating Women Award. For me personally, as a Jesus girl to another Jesus girl, adding women's empowerment makes you the disruptor of the Christian faith. Congratulations.
Wow. I've been coming to this breakfast for a few years, and I've always wanted one of these. I was reading something, looking for inspiration for what I might say today in these few minutes, and I found a quote that sparked a conversation in my brain. I often have conversations with myself. And this quote says the following: "Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us." That was said by Wilma Rudolph, who became an Olympian medal winner in the Olympics after surviving polio. But the conversation I was having with myself was, well, yes, Wilma, the power did lie within you, but there were many people surrounding you, a team of medical staff, your family, friends, your coaches, your teammates, who helped push you along. So I like to think of New York Women's Foundation in this way: the spirit of Ubuntu. We exist, we grantees, we honorees exist because you exist, that without opportunity and resources and support, we cannot each live up to our full potential. In 2001, a brave woman named Barbara Martenson had an idea that women coming out of prison should have access to college education as a way to rebuild their lives and strengthen their futures and strengthen their families' futures. In 2001, I walked out of Albion State Prison with a threefold brochure in my hand that says, if you are a woman coming out of prison and you want to go to college, we can help you. The College and Community Fellowship provided me with the strength and the help I needed to figure out where I wanted to be in my life, and then a few years later, they hired me. I had just graduated with a degree in nonprofit management. I had absolutely no real experience other than a passion for working with women coming out of the criminal justice system. And the New York Women's Foundation gave us our first major grant. So I've always had a deep sense of gratitude to the foundation for taking a chance on College and Community Fellowship, and for College and Community Fellowship for taking a chance on me and putting me in that leadership position. At that time, we had an annual budget of less than $150,000. Now we are impacting policy at the state and national levels where access to education for people in prison is concerned, and we are serving hundreds of women here in New York City who have earned college degrees with the help of our tutors and mentors and academic staff. You should care about women in prison because, after all, they are women. And they are convicted of way too many things for way too long a time. The United States incarcerates more people than any country in the world. We incarcerate more women than any country in the world. And it is little known that the percentage of women being incarcerated has increased more than 800% in the last 20 years. This system of mass punishment has a lot of drivers. Among them are poverty, domestic violence, other community violence, and lack of opportunity in some communities. Until we can tie all these things together and not think that we're just imprisoning broken or bad people, we will never get out of the hole we're in, where we are willing to spend literally billions of dollars on a system that does not make us more safe. New York Women's Foundation is not feminism in theory. It's feminism in action. But that action should include all of us, no matter who we are, no matter what our gender choices are, no matter what our race or ethnicity is, and no matter whether or not we have a criminal history record. Everybody deserves opportunity. Everybody deserves a chance at the good life. Everybody deserves a chance to reach that potential for greatness that lives within inside of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Our next honoree is Linda Sarsour. As the Executive Director of the Arab American Association of New York, Linda has focused on immigrant rights, police reform, and ending racial and religious profiling. Linda is a co-chair of the Women's March on Washington, which advocated for just legislation and policies regarding human rights and other issues in the largest single-day demonstration in U.S. history. Linda, for standing up for the rights of New York's Muslim community, the New York Women's Foundation is proud to present you with the Celebrating Women's Award. Personally, for refusing to allow your hijab to be a thing of shame and facing the world with power and strength, becoming a role model to thousands of Muslim young women. I call you an everyday hero. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so honored and humbled to be here today with all of you, and I want to say congratulations to Ana Maria and Donna and Vivian and Anne and Marley and Cecile. You are my heroes, and I'm grateful to be on the stage with all of you. Thank you to the New York Women's Foundation, who believed in me and believed in my potential as a leader here in New York City. I've been under pretty intense attacks since the Women's March on Washington. And I've been working on creating this list of haters for a long time, and I think I did a really good job. I got the right people on that list. And I will say to them and to you that I will not be intimidated and I will not be silenced. Amidst the hatred against what I represent and the communities which I love, I stand here before you unapologetically Muslim, unapologetically Palestinian American, unapologetically from Brooklyn, New York, and an unapologetic member of the resistance. Abigail talked about optimism. And if I did not have optimism, I would not be doing this movement work. And the reason why I have optimism is because the resistance, the revolution is led by women, women of color, strong Black women, and women who look like me. Those closest to the pain are closest to the solution. We, women of color, do not leave anybody behind. And I will say this here, that we will not go back. These fights that we are in right now are not new fights, and they're not new fights in particular to women of color. We've been fighting for some for centuries and others for decades for basic human rights in these United States of America. What's different now is we just have to fight harder than we ever fought before. The resistance is strategic, it is inclusive, and it is intersectional. We cannot talk about reproductive rights without talking about racial justice and immigrant rights and climate justice and religious freedom. The Women's March on Washington, the largest single-day protest in US history, was an intentional opportunity to show the potential of women when we unite and the potential when progressive movements join and work together. Because at least if we're going to lose, let us lose with some dignity and integrity and unity. And if we're gonna win, let us win together, being led by the most powerful, strong women in this nation. The work is just beginning. The resistance is waiting for all of you. We need all hands on deck. And I leave you with a quote by an Aboriginal woman named Leela Watson. And she said, "If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come here because you believe that your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. Because we are not free until all of us are free." I commit to you today, as a woman, as a Muslim American, as a Palestinian American, as a Brooklynite and a New Yorker, that I will continue to be out on these streets, keep my voice loud, to ensure that we protect the most marginalized amongst us. Because those communities, our sisters and brothers, are counting on us. They are counting on you. Thank you to the New York Women's Foundation for this honor today.
Please welcome board alumni Hailey Lee and Abigail Disney to the stage.
Should we say it? Okay. 1, 2, 3.
And Delaney!
Good morning, everyone. Anne attended her first Celebrating Women breakfast in 1997, and I think many of us have heard her describe that experience as finding her tribe. Well, Anne, the feeling is mutual because we feel like you are part of our found tribe too. Anne joined the foundation board for the first time in 1998, then came back for round 2 in 2006, serving as board chair from June 2013 to 2016. During her decade plus of service on the board, the foundation has experienced exponential growth in its capacity and its grant making.
Okay, so that was the boring part. Because the thing is, we really love Anne. And since Ovid and who was that guy, Shakespeare, and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, if you really love someone, you write it in verse, baby. So here we go.
All right, let's do it.
We gather to celebrate Annie, who's so cool, this list will be many. She's such a good person, we can't imagine things worse than you failing to see she's uncanny.
First of all, Annie's not quite her name, but rhyming can be such a merciless game. And other than Man Can Plan and Suzanne, most that rhymes well with Anne is just lame.
In Gotham, she goes by Delaney. She does charity oh so humanely, a smile on her face of most radiant grace. And on top of it all, she is brainy.
Now for some shockers you never knew, like she once was a cheerleader too. She sports biceps robust. Watching her pull-ups a must. I envy her strength, so should you.
She's capable of doing things rude. In 8th grade, she ran in the nude. She told us this backstage. I said, act your age. But as gossip goes, isn't that good? If you ever have looked at her art, you would know that she leads with her heart. With paintings so gorgeous, I need a thesaurus to show that she's way off the chart.
When starting her work, she was shy. Public speaking, she never did try. But because she is strong, before very long, on her eloquence we came to rely.
With a tennis game sharp as a sword, but by everyone she sure is adored. With a manner so caring, but work that is daring, she's brought so much strength to this board.
Of something we need to be clear, there's no end to the ways that she's dear. In just the telling, we find ourselves cavelling and wish to make sure that you hear.
Anne is truly a treasure, a gift of no small measure. We love that she ever sticks with this endeavor, her friendship profoundly a treasure.
Anne, we dearly love you for the sister you are for so many of us.
So for your lifelong dedication to philanthropy and the arts, the New York Women's Foundation Vision Award.
That was so funny. Oh my God. Thank you both of you, my fellow board members. And you know, Abby, I follow you everywhere because you led me to my first breakfast. And Holly's been my advisor for so long, so I couldn't thank you so much. That was great. Also, it's great to share the stage with my fellow honorees. They're amazing. And thank you to my friends and family for being here. And hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. This moment is very exciting for me. This award feels like it affirms my commitment to women and my belief in women's funds. And it's really special because, as you heard, I was encouraged all along by so many, even when I was a quiet and shy newbie with a lot to learn. But it's been an incredible experience. The work has always been interesting and inspiring, as you can imagine. I've met amazing women and girls along the way, just like our breakfast honorees, and that's been thrilling. I view these women the way I do my favorite artists, as creative thinkers with bold ideas who think outside the box. They have a moral imagination. They're inspiring. They changed my understanding of what can be accomplished. A few times, though, over the years, I did have moments of doubt. I wondered if I should keep supporting social change organizations when progress seemed slow and so hard to measure. But then I thought, this is the exact right way to be engaged with the present. The measure of change is the vigor and energy that shows up in the gatherings, the conversations, and the proposals. I concluded that there's no other way than to be in the struggle. And personally, the struggle has been totally worth it. I will quote the writer Rebecca Solnit here. To be hopeful means to be uncertain about the future, to be tender toward possibilities, to be dedicated to change all the way to the bottom of your heart. All that could be said about our board and staff, too. It is my time with them that I will remember, that I always think about and be very proud of. We learned together, laughed, and commiserated. They do not shy away from serious issues and never accept problems facing women as inevitable. I believe our collaborative style of grant-making is effective, transparent, and democratic, and has a huge ripple effect in the world. And finally, I love this gathering, which feels like an early morning pilgrimage, and I'm grateful for the chance to thank you in person. Literally, all of my mentors are in this room. I could not have asked for better role models. My sisters Sarah and Quinn are here too, and many friends showed me the way. And to Ana Oliveira, who realized the brilliance of what our founders started, you added joy and wisdom and ran with it. It's been the chance of a lifetime to work alongside you. And now I have my own walking stick. I've always thought they were so cool. I will treasure it. It will be a reminder of good things, of deep and meaningful experiences, and when I met remarkable people. It's been a privilege to serve at the foundation. It changed my life, and I'm so grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Please welcome the former assistant to President Barack Obama, Chief of Staff.
I didn't hear what the voice of God just said, but literally this just came in at 2:56 in the morning this morning. I think she needs to get some sleep. But this is a special message to you from Gloria Steinem, and she really wanted us to read it. So, I thank the New York Women's Foundation for allowing me to be present in word and spirit. As someone old enough to have witnessed the world without and with an Anda lady in it, I wanted to testify to what a deep and transforming difference she has made. In this room, as in the world, there are so many forces for good that wouldn't be as strong or exist at all without her. From the Ms. Foundation for Women and Third Wave to Sadie Nash, Feminist Camp, and more. And she also connects art to social justice from New Orleans to Nairobi. Yet even her quiet philanthropy doesn't say it all. She loves to learn about new issues in funding circles, meet with feminist campers from all over this country, invite community activists to plot the passing of Albany legislation in her living room, and show film clips in her kitchen that somehow lead to the Athena Film Festival, all while being a great mother, a great artist, and oh yes, riding around New York on her bike. Please never not wear your helmet. Just, that's me, that's not Gloria.
That's the mother in her.
Dearest Anne, even I, hopeaholic that I am, could not have imagined a woman as creative, authentic, and magical and kind as you are. I can't wait to see what you do next. Love, Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria.
Please welcome the former assistant to President Barack Obama, Chief of Staff to First Lady Michelle Obama, and Director of the White House Council on Women and Girls, Tina Chen, to the stage.
Well, good morning, New York women. You are amazing. You know, change doesn't happen in Washington. It happens in rooms like this and communities all across this country. I'm so proud and honored to be here with you and to celebrate the New York Women's Foundation's 30th year. I will tell you, when I think about the New York Women's Foundation, I think not just radical generosity, you are radical leaders, and it's a radical leadership, and I have an example for you. When we were at the White House, Ana Oliveira, she came to the White House, she came with your Speaker of the City Council, Melissa Mark Viverito, and talked about your Young Women's Initiative here. That sparked a national movement across the country. And 9 months later, last June, when we held the first ever White House Summit on the United State of Women with 5,000 women and girls from across the country gathered together, the work that you started here in New York had a national wave where we now have over 7 cities who are doing young women's leadership initiatives. We have over 24 women's foundations from across the country that are committing over $100 million for women and girls of color. And the United State of Women, I'm here to tell you, is continuing. It is now a national organization supporting organizations doing work for women and girls across the country, holding gatherings. We just announced our Galvanized Summits across the country, and I'm here to ask you to join us, unitedstateofwomen.org. Be part of this movement that's going to support organizations and groups all across the country and be truly part of what we are trying to, the work and the values that we are trying to maintain in this country. And the work that you do with your grantee partners could not be more important. So it's my honor to be here to introduce someone who has a story of amazing courage, amazing dignity and strength and perseverance, and whose story is really made possible by your grantee partner organizations. So let me welcome to the stage Jean Lantos.
Thank you. In 2012, I did something many women in the Philippines do to support their families. I took a job as a nanny abroad, against my true wish. I left my son, who was 1 year old. My first job was in Qatar. The family I worked for paid me and treated me fairly. After a year with them, they told me about an opportunity to become a nanny in America for the family of a diplomat. I took a job because it would mean the opportunity to make more money to send home. And someday, I will bring my son here. For 14 months, I took care of the family's children. I worked 7 days a week. I was not allowed to go outside. I was not paid. In 14 months, I was only permitted to call home 5 times. I was physically abused by the children's mother repeatedly. They kept my passport from me. Federal agents had been watching with my employers because they had trafficked someone before me. They had seen the children's mother hurt me. The agents came around again and approached me and say they would help. They connected me with the Damayan migrant workers to fight for their labors. Damayan helps Filipino workers to fight for their labors, health, gender, and immigration rights. A caseworker there helped me to decide to live with my employer. One day, the agents came around again. That day, I was wearing a short sleeve shirt. They noticed the bruises on my arms and asked me about them. I decided it was time to stop being scared. It was time to leave. I had to take a chance and get out of there for myself and for my family. The agents got my passport from my employer and I left. I was placed with a safe home. I stay involved with the Damayan. When Damayan was being trained by the Center for Family Life to set up a women's worker co-op, I became a founding member of Maharlika Cleaning Co-op. We are the first Filipino migrant worker-owned co-op in the United States. Most of us are survivors of human trafficking. Maharlika is a high-quality, eco-friendly office cleaning businesses where all the workers are owners of the co-op. Our mission is to help our clients, our members, and our brothers' community. We are currently building our base of clients. So if you have an office that needs cleaning, call us. I want you to know what the co-op means opportunity to me. It means I have control. I decided when and how I work. I have a voice. I can say no, and I can participate all the decision together with my co-op family. I am paid for my work. I have my own place to live and can help my family. And one day, I will bring my son here. I don't have to be scared anymore. I am free. Thank you. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the New York Women's Foundation, Ana Olivera. Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Thank you, Jane. Let me begin by thanking our grantee partners again, who are sitting here. And let me share with you, I'm always in awe of leaders who are also mothers. And today, we have had the generosity and the tremendous skillful presence of one of our grantee leaders, and beginning very early, bringing her daughter to our breakfast. So please, let's thank and honor her.
much is talked about multi-generational interventions, you know that. But our lives, of course, are totally multi-generational. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us at our 30th. Thank you for the incredible work that you do. As you heard before from Abby Disney, we are nothing within our leaders, our grantee partners, and we are very clear about it at the foundation. So I'm very inspired by Jane's life trajectory, by her inspiration. And sometimes I know that it looks a little magical how change happens, and how, those swimming against the odds actually not only get through the current, but then start creating their own pools and oceans to swim in. So I wanted to tell you that it takes, of course, the strength and courage of somebody like Jane, and that strength and courage that all of us here have, all of us in this room have, and beyond. But it also takes a kind of a village, and we've heard many times that it takes a village, right, to change the world. So the kind of village that you have been building with us for 30 years is a village that is very effective. It is full of love, it is rooted in love, but it's also committed to effectiveness. We want to make sure that the change we want to see actually happens. So you saw in Jane's, brief description of her life, that 4 grantee partners partnered with her in her own journey, beginning with Damayan, who actually came to support her at a time of great distress and oppression, then going to the Center for Family Life, where cooperatives for, by, and about women have been incubated, created, and now are one of the great engines of economic change and justice in New York City. Going to the Urban Justice Center, who supports her legally with her business, and with Adhikar, who is, a client of the cooperative. Isn't that fantastic? And I just want to say, you have heard me here talk about Hot Bread Kitchen and buying their products, so let me remind you again. We have talked to you about buying products of all of our women entrepreneurs, those famous chocolates that still are to come to the market. But I also want to tell you, please do consider hiring our women's cooperatives. Do consider hiring Jane's Cooperative because they are looking for clients, but consider other opportunities to support those who are part of our community and that are doing that unbelievable result that we never know it's possible, but it's there every day. So please think about that. So this village, has grown over the 30 years. As you saw our fierce alumni here, and we come from a very, very deep, strong tradition. And our goal and our commitment is to continue in those roots of very great depth, where we know the problems and solutions live in the same place. And that the best people to be at the center of that solution-oriented change are our grantee leaders, are the women and organizations who are rooted in those communities, who know how to reach those lives, that know what those lives need to transform, that put the voice of folk at the center. So the foundation seeks to do that, and it's because of that that I think that we have some incredible results, as you can witness today in the stage, but also I hope that you will also reach out and read more in our annual report and other publications of the foundation. So over the 30 years, we began, it was a breakfast. It was a smaller breakfast, I need to say, but it was a breakfast. But it was the right thing to do, and I know Lema is right. People that come to the breakfast, you do not respond to your biological clock, you respond to your justice and equality clock. So we really appreciate that. We really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So we went from giving in the first year $50,000 to 4 organizations to now close to $8 million a year to more than 80 organizations in New York City. Why is that important? It's important for many reasons. It's important because the kinds of issues that we're dealing with, the easy ones have been done before all of us. The issues that are in front of us are issues that require creativity, persistence, ingenuity, and really paying attention to what are the ways that we can maximize good results, maximize economic security, maximize safety, maximize health, sexual rights, reproductive rights. How do we do it in order for the return on investment to be so much larger? We do that because we have relationships with our grantee partners where we seek to mitigate the differential of being a donor and a grantee recipient. Because actually, we don't fund models, we fund people, we fund communities. And because we do that, the errors are minimized because people are supported to make the change that they need to make to serve their communities better, to make the policy changes they need to make more effectively, and to come back to a larger level of impact. So we have, over the years, enjoyed incredible support from our partners. You heard from Tina about the Young Women's Initiative that, by the way, was created in New York City under the leadership and guidance of Girls for Gender Equity and Joanne Smith. And I want to be very clear that the foundation is proud to have followed you, Joanne, and mobilized City Council. Yes, yes, mobilized City Council to invest. The result of that, the result of an inclusive, multi-sectoral collaboration, as Anne Delaney said, the collaborative style of the foundation, is that we have now 19 other partners in philanthropy in New York City that are here today, by the way, and they deserve an enormous applause because with them, we are investing from philanthropy $10 million more in the lives of girls and young women in New York City, with a focus on girls and young women of color, where the biggest life disparities lie in the city. And the city government, under the leadership of Melissa Mark-Viverito and City Council, has matched $10 million in city budgets that didn't exist before. That's really important. Philanthropy needs to have creative, innovative, catalytic roles with government, because government it's our government, right? Democracy takes practice, and democracy is about solutions, inclusion and solutions. So, but I do want to say that if it had been for Tina Chan and for Valerie Jarrett, our ability to, who saw what was happening in New York City, our ability to, along with our other partners, and I want to give a shout out to Lee Roper-Batcutt from the Minnesota Women's Foundation and Jennifer Lockwood Shabbat from the Washington Area Women's Foundation, who are here today and who are leading their own young women's initiatives. Our work together took another dimension because of the partnership and the generosity of the White House Council on Women and Girls. It's really important when people see what you're doing. We try to do that with our grantees, see and value what you're doing, and it means a lot to us when others see what you are doing and what the foundation is doing. So what are we going to do next? What are the next stages? You know, we're all asking, how do we move ahead? What is ahead for the next 30? I will say that I'm going to invite you to think of 30 years following Linda Sarsour's remarks of collective freedom, abundance of possibility, abundance of opportunity. One of the great inequalities in the world is the opportunity to get up and do it again. Vivian Nixon talked about that, how important it is for women to have a chance to get up when we fall and do it again and be supported to do it again. I know that that's what you do with the foundation every year, every day. I know that's what you do in your own lives. You wouldn't be here if you weren't that kind of a person. So what are we doing going ahead? We are, of course, supporting investments to shore up our gains. We are, of course, the foundation is designating $1 million every year for the next 5 years to support those who are resisting a rolling back of progress that we made. As Linda Sarsour said, and as others said, you know, the resistance to erosion of progress. But we are also advancing. We think it's a very important time for us to advance what we think needs to be. So in economic security, we will be advancing new economic arrangements, such as cooperatives, such as educational and job opportunities that actually promote wages that allow women to work full-time and live fully, not in poverty, building their families with respect and dignity. When we see the attacks on our health care, on our reproductive rights, yes, we want to fight them back, but it's the perfect time to talk about the vitality and importance of quality health care, accessible for all, accessible on the terms that people need, a system of health care that is not a pawn, that our lives truly matter. So yes, we want to resist, protect, and then we want to advance the ideas and the vision of the world that works for all. So in New York City, we're also part of an opportunity to, I'm going to say, redirect the response to problems and mistakes, not having the criminal system and incarceration being, a response for all, but really looking at what kinds of programs, what kinds of other alternatives, what kinds of opportunities we need to create for women and families so that when a trouble exists, we use that as a moment of change. So we want to disinvest from such large response of incarcerating everybody and sending, women to Rikers Island that really need to be with their families, supported to do better. And really use our public dollars in a more transformational and constructive manner. We want to make sure that as we move ahead, you know how important your role is. Sometimes it's really hard to know, does it really matter what I do? Does it really matter? The issues are so big. I hope that the formula of the foundation, which is really, we bring ourselves together. I agree with you. Alone, what we can do is very little. Of course, there's super iconic people that don't fall into that category. They can move the world on their own. But for the majority of us, we need each other to produce these incredible solutions together. So we will continue moving ahead. We will continue very rooted and grounded. We will continue to invest in leaders. We will continue to build a partnership with you. And we will continue to create this idea that philanthropy needs to be inclusive, needs to be effective, and needs to be rooted in love and compassion as well. So I want to say a few thank yous, because it's really important. We have, our tagline is radical generosity. Forever generosity, rooted generosity, persistent generosity, inclusive generosity. So I want to begin by thanking the Marriott staff, who every morning gets up even earlier than we do and sets up this great breakfast for us. And I talk with them and I hang out with them, and all they have is smiles and appreciation, and that's is a lot for us. I want to thank, of course, our alumni, but I also want to thank our current board, who is an incredible board, who is fierce, who has been, behind all opportunities that we have raised with them to really, as Ann Delaney said, run with the vision of our founders. We want to thank our philanthropy partners. It means a lot to the foundation when other foundations, when other donors see the opportunity that the foundation is offering. Our incredible volunteers, they do our grant-making process. It's a participatory grant-making process. They come here in the breakfast, and I want to thank you for being here earlier and earlier every year and greeting everybody and making our breakfast be really a community building, a sitting march that we're all so proud in participating. I want to thank some of our government partners who are here with us today. Gail Brewer, our Manhattan Borough President, Rossana Rosado, Secretary of State, Melissa DeRosa, Secretary to the Governor, Alfonso David, Counsel to the Governor, Liz Glazer, who directs the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, our commissioners, Carmelina Malalas, Cecile Noel, Mira Joshi, and Lorelei Salas. You make the partnerships of what we do really important, because we need our city government, our state government, to really be able to see the importance of community, to be able to partner with philanthropy, to produce solutions that are win-win solutions for all of us. And I want to finish by really thanking the staff of the foundation. You know, they are, some of them have headphones on, some of them are sitting with you, some of them, you know, communicate with you all the time. But really, no one works at the foundation based on a job description. Just want to say that to everybody. No one. The job description is just a starting point. There isn't anything that every single member of the staff of the New York Women's Foundation, past and current, wouldn't do and hasn't done in their commitment to the mission of the foundation. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with that spirit of love, optimism, possibility, and solutions. And let me welcome an incredible person that will help us get to the next stage of that. Anita Chanapati, past board member of the New York Women's Foundation and a fierce leader herself.
Good morning. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling inspired? Let's hear it. Are you feeling inspired? Yeah. So those of you who've been here before, I'm kind of a familiar face, I think. My job is to ask you to give today, all right? You have heard what the foundation does and the amazing work that it does for the women and girls in New York City. And as Anna said, in order for us to keep going, we can't do it alone. Each of us can't do it alone. We have to do it together, right? And your support today will help all of us come together and help the women and girls in New York City who need it the most. It will fund job training programs, leadership training programs, women entrepreneurs, anti-violence initiatives, and so much more. The work that the foundation supports is vast. It is wide and it is deep. And it reaches all corners of this beautiful city. We need to stand together now. We all need to stand together now, and we need to give more than ever now. So you got them on your tables, these beautiful envelopes. And know that when you give, your dollars are being combined with you and you and you, like all of it together. So give boldly this morning. Lights are coming up so everyone can see. Envelopes. Those of you who've been here before, help your friends, show them how it's done, don't be shy. And so while you're all writing, I thought I would indulge and take a little selfie so everyone can see what activism, philanthropy looks like. So raise your envelopes, raise your glow sticks. Let's see it. All right, smile everyone. There you go. Yeah, let's see so the world can see what it looks like when we come together and accomplish some great things, right? All right, thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Please welcome former senior advisor to President Barack Obama and chair of the White House Council on Women and Girls, Valerie Jarrett.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to begin by saying thank you. At a time when some of us are wondering about the strength of our democracy, looking around this room and seeing so many amazing women literally in the rafters and a few good men, I am confident that we are a force to be reckoned with, and it will be strong and it will be resilient. So thank you for that. So during the 8 years that I had the privilege of chairing the White House Council on Women and Girls and working together with Tina and Kalisha and Jordan, who are also here today, we had an opportunity to create a safe and big tent to focus on how we could improve the quality of life for women and girls around our country and the world. And because Tina and I are moms of young women of color, we were particularly proud of the work that we did focusing on the unique challenges that women and girls of color face in America. And with that, you were our partners and will continue to be our partners into the future. And we appreciate that so much. One of the challenges that women and girls face is that the fact that you cannot be what you cannot see. We need role models, right? And that's why I am so very proud to introduce our next honoree. This is a dynamic, young 12-year-old woman who's grown about 3 inches since I saw her last a couple of months ago. Need to put a little brick on her head, but her mother's pretty tall too, so I don't think that's gonna happen. Who created, of course, 1,000 Black girl books. And her goal was to find young Black girls as a protagonist in 1,000 books. Guess how many books she's at and counting? 9,000 books. And not only that, but she put Tina and I on the spot because she interviewed us at the White House. And she made us really think. She had us on our toes. And so she may be a future journalist as well. But one thing I want to announce to you today that she's definitely going to be is an author. She has a new book coming out, which I am proud to hold up a copy of. And when she'll tell you hopefully a bit more about when it will be available for you to purchase. But the title is Marley Dias Gets It Done. Marley Dias Gets It Done So You Can Too. She's going to show so many girls around our country that you can actually be something that you can see, because she's what you can see. Please join me in welcoming your honoree, Marley Dias. Come on up here. Just hold it for a second. Look out, take a photo, and then I'm going to hold it while we talk. Okay. I got it. There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marley Dias, and it's very nice to see you today. So let me begin by saying thank you so much for this honor, especially the New York Women's Foundation. I'm happy to be here among these amazing women. I'm not Valerie Jarrett or Cecile Richards, but I am doing my part to help girls find their voices and to share it with the world. I'm super excited by your message of radical generosity. I had to look it up, but I did learn a lot. And after reading more and more about it, I see that you're committed to changing the fundamental way we give to and support girls. By honoring my work and me, you are choosing a radical path. As you know, the goal of my campaign, 1,000 Black Girl Books, is to collect and donate books that have Black girls as the main characters. I'm also the president of the grassroots community foundation, Supergirl Society. The purpose of Supergirl Society is to support the well-being of Black girls, foster sisterhood, and to serve as an example of Black girl excellence. Many of us are fortunate to live with both of our parents, and our parents are often teachers, social workers, and electricians. When people think about giving to girls, they often ignore us. Why? We are girl change makers who strive to maintain academic excellence, and we are actively involved in helping those in our communities. I'm so thankful that this honor recognizes girls like me, girls who are often unseen. Girls in the middle, girls who, if we don't get support, are at risk of not being our greatest self. Another reason I'm excited is because you are honoring me and sharing my love of reading. Since I started the 1,000 Black Girl Books campaign, I've learned that sometimes parents use reading as a punishment. I mean, it's true. They say to kids, go to your room and read, or get off your phone and read. And the idea of making reading a punishment has been passed down for generations and is highly problematic. And that is a word I came up with myself when I typed this down, just so everyone knows. That is my word. Reading is a gift. It is a blessing to be able to imagine new worlds and new places, and to imagine yourself as the main character. I hope my work is helping kids find themselves and discover their love of reading. Through my campaign, I've also been able to show that reading is a tool for increasing diversity and creating inclusion. Even when we do not have diverse communities, reading can help us in thinking and learning about others. And best of all, reading is fun and allows for me to grow and see beauty in the world around me. Radical generosity begins by taking the time to see and award girls like me. Girls like me sometimes go unseen. Girls like me can remain the sidekick. But with your support, you are helping us be the main characters of our lives. Thank you for supporting this work and me. I accept this on behalf of Supergirls everywhere who are waiting to be seen. Thank you.
So proud of you.
Please welcome the chair of the New York Women's Foundation's Advisory Committee and former board chair Diana Taylor to the stage.
Who doesn't want to be Marley when they grow up? Wow, what an amazing woman. I am so happy to be back here with all of you. I have been coming to this breakfast for more years than I want to remember. And I remember the first time I was dragged here by a friend, just like our friend over here, Abby. And I couldn't believe that I was going to actually enjoy something that I had to show up at 7:30 in the morning for. But it was extraordinary, a room full of thousands of women with tears streaming down their faces, writing checks and listening to people's stories. And it's just gotten better over the years. So anyway, thank you all for being here, and thank you for supporting the New York Women's Foundation. When I stepped down from my term as chair, this was several years ago, Anne was my successor. And Anne, I want to say I am so proud of you. I left with mixed emotions. I was really going to miss this place, but I knew it was in really, really good hands. So, Anne, thank you for everything that you've done for the New York Women's Foundation. So, I am honored, really honored, to be here to present our final Celebrating Women Award for my personal heroine, Cecile Richard. President of Planned Parenthood, Federation of America. Like the New York Women's Foundation, Planned Parenthood, which celebrated its 100th birthday last fall, was founded on a radical idea that healthy women are crucial to a healthy society, and women have the right to high-quality, affordable health care and family planning services, no matter who they are. A century later, Planned Parenthood, with its partner organizations, provides safe, quality, affordable health care to 5 million people, men included, and children around the world, half of them here in this country. I'm not going to go on and tell you about Planned Parenthood. You all know what it does, and I'm sure that every single solitary in this room, person in this room supports it. And we need to do that more than ever now. For many people, Planned Parenthood is the only place to turn for health care in their communities. And Cecile is there for them, ensuring that they have access to the care that they need. Cecile is always thinking about the most vulnerable members of our society and fighting for them now more than ever. Throughout her career, Cecile has tirelessly worked to improve the economic and political lives of millions in this country, from her early days organizing low-wage workers in the hotel, healthcare, and janitorial industries, to founding American Votes, a coalition of national grassroots organizations working to maximize voter registration, education, and participation. But where Cecile really comes from, I have to tell you, I wasn't going to tell this story, but I'm going to. Her mother, as a lot of you know, was the governor of Texas, Ann Richards, an icon to us all. And I remember being at an event where Ann was speaking, her mom, and she told a story which has stuck with me ever since. And it's a story about a bird. This bird has lost all its energy, it's a hawk or something, and it's trudging through the cow pastures. It has no energy, it's just totally lethargic, and it's really depressed. And this bird comes upon a bull. And the bull looks at the bird and said, "You know what, I can help you." And the bird says, "Well, how can you help me?" And the bull says, "Well, I know this is gonna sound gross, but it really works, trust me, it works. So if you eat my leavings, droppings, bullshit, you will start to feel better, and you will be back to your old self." So the bird says, "Bleh. All right, well, I'll try anything at this point." So pecks a little bit, feels better. Next day, pecks a little bit more, feels even better. And finally, about a week later, back in full form and flapping around and flying, and this bird flies up to the top of the tallest tree and sits there and crows and says, "I feel great, I am totally better." So the farmer comes out of his house, takes his shotgun, boom! Bird flutters to the ground. The moral of the story: bullshit might get you there, but it's not gonna keep you there. So Cecile, on behalf of the board, alumni, and staff of the New York Women's Foundation and all women, I am honored to present you with the Celebrating Women Award for your dedication and courageous leadership in fiercely defending women's health and reproductive rights. We need you.
Thank you, Diana. Thanks. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Fantastic. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Women's Foundation. Thank you, Diana, for being a friend and for being one of the founders. It's an incredible honor to be here this morning, and particularly with my sisters in the struggle, Anna Maria and Donna and Vivian and Linda and Anne and Marley, our new super heroine. Amazing. That was the best thing I've heard in years. I'm really proud to be here to accept this honor on behalf of not only the 1 in 5 women in this country who've been to Planned Parenthood and depended on them for health care, but probably more importantly today, I'm here on behalf of the thousands of clinicians and escorts and doctors and staff who got up this morning and walked through picket lines all across this country to provide reproductive health care to women in America, including safe and legal abortion, and we will never give that up. So at Planned Parenthood, our motto is care no matter what. And that's either a promise or a threat, depending on who you are and where you sit. But I'm incredibly proud that our doors are open to everyone, no matter where you live, no matter your income, no matter your sexual orientation or your gender, and no matter your immigration or refugee status, because everyone in this country deserves high quality, affordable health care. It's a fundamental human right. So, as many folks have said, and you know, ever since January, this Congress and this administration have had a bullseye on women, and we've been in the crosshairs. But the good news, as you know, is women are leading the resistance, and we always have. So, you know, the day that Speaker Paul Ryan announced that he was going to add, not only to overturn the Affordable Care Act, but he was also going to start blocking the millions of patients from coming to Planned Parenthood, you could not get a call into his office, into Congress. The entire switchboard was shut down and overwhelmed. And one of the studies I've read has said that of all the thousands and thousands of calls that are going into Congress right now to resist, 86% of those calls are being made by women, all right? So give yourself, that's right. And I'm meeting women everywhere, all across the country, who are organizing, they're speaking out, they're doing things that they never even imagined doing. Like a woman I met the other day, Lori Hawkins, she's a Planned Parenthood patient in Speaker Ryan's district in Wisconsin. She's so fired up that she's now signed up to learn how to run for office. And I hope she thinks about Congress, actually. And then there's a woman I met about 10 days ago, is in Indianapolis. Two women who decided they would get a few friends together after the election to strategize. We ended up hosting 900 people. They now have 13,000 women in Indiana that are fighting back in the resistance. And then there's the young woman, a 17-year-old organizer named Deja Fox from Tucson, Arizona. Now, Deja's senator had made it clear that he was intending to vote to defund Planned Parenthood. And so Deja went to his town hall meeting, and she stood up in front of hundreds of people, and literally this is exactly what she said. She said, "I just want to state some facts. I'm a young woman, and you're a middle-aged man. I'm a person of color, and you're white. I come from a background of poverty, and I didn't always have parents to guide me through life, and you come from privilege. So I'm wondering, why is it your right to take away my right to choose Planned Parenthood?" And it was amazing. She was absolutely incredible, speaking truth to power at that town hall. And before that town hall was over, the video had blown up on social media. Now it's been seen by nearly 13 million people and counting. That to me is what the resistance is about. And I do believe that the lasting legacy of this moment in time will be the generations of women and others it has inspired and energized. From the women in their 80s to carrying signs that say, "I can't believe I still have to protest this," fill in the blank, to the, right, am I right? To the 16 and 17-year-olds like Deja, like Marley, who are fighting like they've never fought before. Everywhere I go, women stop me and ask me what to do. And so today, I guess, consider these your marching orders. Now's the time to call your member of Congress, call your senator, go to a town hall meeting, tell your story, support women's organizations, support women running for office around the country and around the world. Don't wait for instructions. Whatever you're already doing, it's time to do the next thing. We've got an enormously long road ahead of us, but we are doing this with joy and love. And in the words of Sojourner Truth, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, then these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. So thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for this honor.
Please welcome breakfast co-chairs Elba Montalvo and Janet Riccio, along with Ana Oliveira and Abigail Disney, to the stage.
Wow, it's amazing. I've never been up here before. What an amazing morning. And I want to thank Ana and the staff at the New York Women's Foundation and all of these extraordinary women again for amazing stuff. And to you, on behalf of the board and staff of the New York Women's Foundation, we want to thank you for joining us this morning at this most extraordinary breakfast, at this most extraordinary time.
And please join us again next year, right here on May 10th, Thursday, May 10th, for our 31st Celebrating Women Breakfast. Don't miss it.
And Batala will dance us out into our next journeys. Thank you so much for being here.